With the 24 Hours of Le Mans now in the rearview mirror, NASCAR executives are already looking at where they can take stock car racing next. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Group. I hope your week is going well. I was out of town the past few days. Obviously, I'm home now, but I was actually at a wedding, meeting a lot of people I'd never met before for the very first time, having a lot of interesting conversations, a lot of small talk, but one thing that stood out to me were the number of people who quickly brought up Garage 56, Le Mans, when they found out I was a racing guy, I was a NASCAR guy. And specifically, these were young people, 20-somethings, people my age, bringing this up. I had 3 different conversations with 3 different people who all said basically the same thing. What is NASCAR doing in Le Mans? It's all over my TikTok feed, my social media. It looks incredible. It had caught their interest. They felt a sense of pride seeing an unapologetically American car tear up French streets. Those conversations, as well as what I was seeing on my own social media feed all weekend, stuck with me. They've stuck with me the past few days. I understand that a lot of this is anecdotal. I ran into a few guys at a wedding, talked about Garage 56. Yeah, my social media feed was full of clips and videos and Chevy Camaro memes. But there is some data out there that proves Americans were more interested in Le Mans this year than usual. Adam Stern from Sports Business Journal tweeted that Motor Trend averaged 161,000 viewers, up 59% from 101,000 viewers last year. I know that's only like a 60,000 viewership increase. That's not huge numbers in the world of sports television, but also keep in mind Motor Trend is like a super premium channel, I believe, on most cable packages. Not a lot of folks have access to it. Still, a 59% increase year over year. Whoa. I don't really have a script or a plan for the rest of this video. I literally got home like 15 minutes ago. I've been driving all day. I put on a different shirt, turned on some lights, hit record on the camera. Here we are. I was thinking and thinking. I couldn't really take any notes, of course, so I just kind of have a lot of thoughts jumbled up in my head. A lot of questions that I want to ask, and hopefully you guys have some potential answers. I think I have an initial opinion, at least, and maybe a few points to potentially back that up. Really, I just want to talk for a few minutes and sort of see where this goes. NASCAR history is fascinating. The stories from NASCAR legends, how the sport got to where it is, the changes along the way, those stories are fascinating. I understand why so many folks love hearing those. But for me personally, I'm more interested in what's happening right now. And perhaps beyond that, what's to come? What does the future of NASCAR look like? Because while sure, we can learn plenty of things from looking at NASCAR's past, at the same time, we live in the present, and NASCAR in the present day is in some ways unrecognizable from NASCAR 40, 50 years ago. It's that way with a lot of sports. I'm more interested in what's ahead, and I guess that's really the topic of this video, because after Le Mans, after looking at the ripples that NASCAR's Garage 56 entry created, it was competitive. Won their class in the pit crew competition, was leading the entire GTE class towards the end when they had a brake issue and then had to repair a transaxle. They ended up finishing 39th, which still exceeded expectations. 39th overall, I should say. And again, I know they weren't officially scored. They were, an exhibition entry. But overall, Garage 56 was a success. John Doonan, IMSA, told the New York Times that Garage 56 was aimed at exposing NASCAR stock car racing to a much wider audience, and that it was meant to showcase NASCAR's new next-gen car to automakers across the world. It did both those things. It captured the attention of fans across the world, and believe me, when that Chevy Camaro blew past a Ferrari or two on the straightaways, I'm sure it got the attention of other automakers as well. What can NASCAR do next to capitalize, to take advantage of the success they had at Le Mans? This is where I want to go through a few tweets from reporter Adam Stern that he's made in the last few days, because they all follow a very similar theme. Let's begin with this one. NASCAR's Le Mans entry is one part of its expanding global plans, with executives making trips all over the world recently and evaluating opportunities in regions like the Middle East. Ben Kennedy said he's already starting to think about the 2025, 26, and 2027 schedules. And sooner than that, even next year, a new, kind of old, fan favorite track may be on the schedule. Sports Business Journal reported that NASCAR is in discussions with entities in Montreal about possibly bringing the racing series back to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve as soon as next year, according to people familiar with the matter, potentially with the Cup Series for the first time. The NASCAR Cup Series could be heading to Canada as soon as next year. And I know there are neighbors just north of the border, it's all North America, but technically that would make the NASCAR Cup Series international. Haven't seen that in a while. Adam Stern tweeted this yesterday: NASCAR has a new merchandise licensee in Australia. NASCAR is looking at global audiences, and right now they do have the globe's attention thanks to what they did in France. Before we get too off in the weeds, I want to share with you a quote from Jeff Gordon that was on NASCAR.com. Gordon said, quote, "I do think that there's a way for NASCAR to be more global and bring in more manufacturers. We're happy with the ones we have, but we all know how important that is. And so I think this, Garage 56, definitely got a lot of the European fans probably to become more bigger fans of NASCAR if they weren't already." Global, it's the word of the day. And I can already see and hear, there's probably a lot of NASCAR fans, longtime NASCAR fans, who are rolling their eyes a little bit. Come on now. NASCAR's roots are in the southeastern United States. Yes, there's fans on the West Coast, there's fans in the Northeast, the Midwest, but Charlotte, North Wilkesboro, Martinsville, Darlington, Atlanta, Daytona Beach, that's the hub. NASCAR obviously has fans across the United States, across the world, but per capita, NASCAR is still most popular in the Carolinas, Florida, that region. I don't blame any NASCAR fan for being apprehensive to the idea of going international. Like, no one's gonna complain about a race in Canada, but if we race in Europe or Japan or the Middle East, it's gonna raise some eyebrows, and I don't fault anyone for being a little skeptical of those ideas. But then I think about the comments Jeff Gordon made, John Doonan made about bringing new manufacturers in, and that's something that I want. And I think any NASCAR fan should want more manufacturers. You don't have to be a fan of every single one. Maybe you're a Ford guy, Ford until I die, but if Hyundai or Honda or Volkswagen want to come into the sport, you don't have to be a fan of them, but that is a good thing. More money, more factory support leads to more competitive opportunities for the most talented drivers. That's something we complain about all the time. It's one of my chief competitive complaints about NASCAR today, is that often lesser talented drivers are given the best opportunities because they bring sponsorship or family funding. The more manufacturers there are in the sport, the more funded rides there are, funded by these manufacturers' partners, the more opportunities there will be for purely talented race car drivers, guys who don't necessarily have to be full-time fundraisers. They don't have to wear the chicken suit and dance all the time. They can just focus on being great race car drivers. So you may not be a fan of Toyota, of Hyundai, of Acura, or BMW. I'm just throwing out a ton of random manufacturers at this point, no rhyme or reason. But if more manufacturers come into the sport, I think that makes the competition, I think that makes the product on Sundays better. So if going international, if going global is what's going to attract some of these major manufacturers, if that's what's going to get their attention, that's going to get their money then trained on NASCAR, then I'm willing to hear Ben Kennedy and the entire NASCAR executive group, I'm willing to hear them out. NASCAR is still one of the most patriotic American sports this country still has. But look at what every other major sports league in this country is doing. They are all going global. Even the NFL, which is very American still. They've got games in London, Germany, who knows where. Nikola Jokic just won the NBA Finals MVP. The basketball is as international as it's ever been. Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Soccer, Messi just came from Europe to Miami to play in Major League Soccer, and that broke the internet. During the World Baseball Classic this spring, nearly every television set in Japan was tuned in to watch Shohei Ohtani take on the US team. The PGA Tour just merged with LIV. And if we just want to focus on motorsports, we all know Formula One is the biggest motorsport series in the world, and it's international. In fact, it's expanding its American presence, tying America more closely into the international racing ecosystem, I guess. I think NASCAR sees all these other major sports leagues having success, going international, inviting international stars to compete. It's made the product better. Shohei Ohtani could sell out a stadium himself. It's made the money bigger. That's why the PGA Tour is doing what they're doing. So as a NASCAR fan who wants to see more money in the sport because I want to see the most talented drivers get opportunities solely based on their driving skill, I'm willing to hear NASCAR out. Going international is no easy feat. Going to race in Europe somewhere or Asia somewhere, they go back to Japan. There's no guarantee it would be a success. There's no guarantee that international fans would even be interested in stock car racing. It might take a while for NASCAR to catch on. But we saw this past week at Le Mans that here in the United States at least, a lot of racing fans, a lot of non-racing fans even, are looking for something unapologetically American, patriotic, to root for, to support on the world stage. There's still a sense of national pride, I guess, here in this country, even among 20-something-year-olds, like the folks I met at that wedding this weekend. I appreciate you listening this long. I'm gonna have to edit this video down a ton. I rambled for a long, long time. There's things I cut out that you probably didn't even see. So I hope this video still makes sense. But yeah, just on the drive home today, I was thinking about Le Mans, all the conversations I had, the interest that NASCAR generated, these quotes about going global, racing in other countries. Like, you know, is it worth it? Is it worth the risk? How can NASCAR do it right? Is there an upside to it? You know, if you're a fan here in the States and one of your US NASCAR race dates just went to London, for example, is there a way you can still be happy about that? Because maybe these dates help bring in new manufacturers and make the actual racing product better. I don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys think. I hope I raised a couple of interesting questions there. And again, I think I have an opinion right now, and my opinion is I'm open to hearing NASCAR out. Maybe the world is ready for NASCAR right now. It's the perfect time to strike. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Thank you again for listening this far. I really appreciate you watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you're new and you love NASCAR. And thank you to my Patreon supporters for your very generous support each and every month. I will be back tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, folks. Take care.